There he is. All right, we've got video. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it a great deal.
Well, let's cut right to the chase, because one of the things that's always thought of as a very difficult thing for a contest player is to win on the front end and to sweat out limit horses coming in at the end of the contest. Now, I was out at Santa Anita. I was playing in the BCBC, and obviously I have an interest in what's going on with our $100,000 game at Derby Wars. And I was looking at the standings, and you had like a pretty comfortable $50 lead at one point, and a lot of the chatter in the chat box was premature congratulations, it seemed like. And then all of a sudden, Work All Week wins, the Frenchie wins from the 14 hole, and how'd you even stay up there?
I had a double Johnny Walker Black on the rocks, and then I had another one. And I was at Aqueduct. I was participating in the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge from Aqueduct. And if you know what the prices are for a double Johnny Walker Black on the rocks in the Aqueduct Clubhouse, you can probably understand how desperate I was to kind of keep it calmed down. But I mean, it was amazing. I think it was it was a fellow that finished second in the contest that I think got the.
He had he had both of the limit horses back to back.
And and then we're going to the last race, and I had a $9 lead, and I was I was on Shared Belief, in that contest, and I really thought he probably I was a little concerned about the race he had in the Awesome again. I was wondering how much, if that race did take anything out of him. Some people believed it was actually going to push him forward, but there was a lot of mixed reviews on his Breeders' Cup works. Some said he looked really good, some said he lacked energy. I guess it's, so I was getting like mixed reviews on it. But I kind of thought he was the best horse, and went with him. And when the race started, the first thing I saw was, it was taken out, of the race. And obviously I was, pretty ticked. And then I found myself in a position midway up the backstretch of rooting for Byron, to bring it home, because the 9-horse Toast of New York, I think TNT had Toast of New York, if I remember correctly. And if that horse wins, he's winning the contest. So I had to switch allegiances on the fly, and fortunately it panned out, and then I had to wait for the inquiry. And when I saw visually, my initial reaction, quite honestly, was they were probably going to take him down. I thought it was pretty severe.
But on the other hand, Tony, pardon me for making an assumption. I see gray hair. I see a lack of hair. It's not your first rodeo. How many times have you seen in a big race a disqualification for something? Wouldn't it have been incredibly historic if they took Byron down?
It would have been. The only reason I even thought it might happen was because of who he fouled. Because he fouled the favorite in the race. So that was the concern that I had. But on reflection, and I read Andy Byers' article in the Racing Forum, and I thought he had a really good take on it. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but I thought he had a great take on it, and he agree with you. I mean, this has happened in the past, and it was the first couple strides, and they usually let that go. And I thought Jim Rome was very gracious in his comments, and I also thought that Mike Smith's comments about why it happened, almost excusing it. These are the people closest to the situation, and they're okay with it, so I think we should be okay with it.
Although Mike Smith's between the rock and hard place, if he ever was, because he rides quite a bit for Baffert there as well.
True. But I think Byron deserves credit for the brilliant race he ran. And that was a great race and a great finish, and I hope in time, it'll be recognized for that. But it did work out, and in this, in horse racing and in contest or in whatever kind of gambling, hard work, analysis, all that goes into it, puts you in position, but you need luck a lot of times. It is the difference between good luck and bad luck. So that combination got me home.
And right now, a little bit of luck is the difference in our leaderboard right now. Moomeyer leads by 60 cents over Post Picker and Joe Rock after 4 races in the books in tonight's 9-race contest. And one thing we're always talking about with this particular contest, the $2,500 live webcast game, or a big game such as our $100,000 game, is consistency. And Tony, there's no getting around the fact that you were an incredibly consistent player in this $100,000 game over the weekend, and your performance was tremendous. You had a huge number of winners.
I'd like to say, Dave, I got myself into the contest because on the $20,000 contest at the end of September, I think the 27th, I had that contest from beginning to the second to last race when the young man passed me because he had a place wager, and he was like $3 behind me, and then he went $3 ahead of me, and then he held on in the last race. But in that particular contest, I believe I hit 9 out of the 15 races or so. So getting into the contest and sort of following the same regiment, especially when you have a 20 race 20 event contest, it really comes down for me, just to go through the grind of what I do in terms of handicapping, and because I was in the BC, I won my seat in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge the following week after the 20,000. I won it on October 4th. So I knew it was going to be a big weekend for me. And then, so I was leading up to the contest and coming up, and, to me, the Breeders' Cup is like Christmas. It's a national holiday. And it's not just the holiday, it's the lead up to the holiday, the 2-3 weeks beforehand, when you're, just totally immersed in the whole thing. It's, really just a great time. And so as I was building in and planning and doing all my work, research, video, analysis, I started peeking over to the entries. You have that posted on the site, and I'm looking and I'm seeing these are all the big guns, all the big boys are showing up for this gunfight, And I also noticed that some of them had more than one bullet in the holster. So I planned, I said, you really have to try to get an entry or two if you can. And I entered a couple of those, 10 entry contests. I don't particularly like to be in the large groups. I like to be in the, the smaller groups. And I got into those $97, 10, and I won 2 of them in the last week before the Breeders' Cup. And so I had that, and then it was just a matter of really trying to exercise my plan A, plan B, plan C like I usually have. And fortunately for me, when I caught Long on Value, which was a Plan B horse, I was then able to shift all my Plan A's, over to that ticket. And it was just a matter of, the art of selecting. It's a science. Handicapping's a science, but the selection part's an art.
Well said.
And so that's, basically in this, I had 10 cashes, I had 8 winners and 2 place bets, but 6 in the Breeder Cup out of the 13 Breeders' Cup races. But Judy the Beauty is a horse that I've played for a couple of years. Love the horse. And just, to me, it was a matter of convincing myself that she could win. Bobby's Kitten is a horse that I love, who I've always believed was a 7-furlong horse.
You ever seen a horse close like that?
He was
last when they straightened out.
Yeah, that was extraordinary. That was an extraordinary burst of speed. He has it, but that was really, really extraordinary. And, so the fact that, I was able to look at that race. The funny thing about Bobby's Kitten was I actually had him, and with 3 minutes to go, I changed it. And I went to undraft it. And I had to put my bet in for the Breeders' Cup. And I used Bobby's Kitten in the Breeders' Cup. I was playing $200 exactas with Bobby's Kitten and 5 horses underneath. Put that bet in, and with about 45 seconds on the ticker, I came back and I said, "What are you, an idiot? You think this work? You made this selection the other day. You just, now you're betting against yourself." And I went in and literally, inside of 30 seconds, switched back to Bobby's Kitten.
You're such a typical horse player, I can tell already.
It was just, now you can't have any confidence in the fact that you're on fire and you're leading the thing. But little doubt, you have to fight it. You do have to fight it. In the contest that I lost to the young man on September 24th, I had Angela Renee in the last race, who ended up winning, and I switched with the same thing with about 30 seconds to go because I thought he was going to pick her. And I just talked myself in that he was going to block me, and he ended up picking an 11-1 shot. So that came back to me also. So you have to fight the doubt, even when you're going well. You have to fight the doubt.
Yeah.
This is the first year I've actually got involved in contest play.
And pardon me for interrupting you. What's happened that got you all involved in these contests? You're not. I mean, I'll say it again. You've got a gray beard. You don't have a lot of hair. You're not some internet kid.
I'm retired. I'm looking for something to do. I've been playing horses for like 40 years. I started playing standardbreds at Freehold in 1973. And then I started going to the thoroughbreds at the old Liberty Bell Park in Northeast Philadelphia before Parks was there. And I'm an accountant by trade. That's my training and background. I was a former chief financial officer for a large medical center here in New Jersey, and a senior advisor and consultant for years to senior management and hospital boards in the tri-state area. And I just loved that part of my life, and fed into horse racing because I just loved the analytics of it. And and I've just kept that going. I've had more time for it. But the thing that really sold me on contests, to be honest with you, is, I played a couple contests at Monmouth Park, and I was out after the first race. I'd go in and put the $100 down, bet the horse lose, that's it. And I'd be out. And I played about 3 or 4. But I watched on Daily Racing Form covered the NHC last year on their internet. You could go and get updates. And it just seemed like something I'd like to be part of. It seemed like there was a lot of energy, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of good people there. And I just decided, and in February I started entering contests, and I'm a dual qualifier. I have two qualifications for there. And I've been, at one point I was in the top 10 in the leaderboard, but after I got my second qualification, that's actually when I came over to DerbyWars. I came over in about July. And I got my second one, and there didn't seem to be a lot of reason for me to, there's no real reason, unless I want to chase points, on the national scale. So I wanted to chase money. So I came over to here, and which is a great, fantastic site. I mean, it's just great, and the competition is stiff and tremendous, so, and I really appreciate that. I just like to get in it. It's like, let me, I just want to dive into it and get into it, and I just look at it in terms of a building. My first month or so on contest, or first 5 or 6, were disasters. I mean, I finished near the bottom, almost every week. And but then I had a breakthrough, and you just learn and go in terms of your approach and your strategy, and you have to sometimes know when to break away from your plan. But I used to break away too soon, and that is what cost me. So I am somebody who really, when I develop my plan, I have my horses, I'm gonna really stick with it until near the end and then, take my shot. And that has worked out for me, pretty well. And then just getting the confidence, once you get in there and get the confidence going, it's, that's very important, at least in terms of being able to knowing the work that you're doing is the right stuff. And that's all part of it, the big part of it.
It's hard enough to win, but it's really hard to win when you don't believe that you can actually win.
Exactly. And that's, the other part of it, too, and I've been developing this my whole life, but contest play has really helped out, I must say. And that is the consistent approach to handicapping, because, you have to have, I have buddies, track buddies that are as long as me. We've been going back, and we'll go drive to Monmouth Park on a Saturday, and one of my guys will say, I'm playing all outside speed horses today, and the other guy is, I'm playing Eddie Pleasant and Paco Lopez today. And then next week they'll go and they'll do something else, and Eddie Pleasant and Paco Lopez win 5 races, And I always tell people, I don't care what you do as far as handicapping, especially people that get involved that I know, they ask me advice, and I say, whatever you do, just try to do the same thing over a period of time so you can evaluate whether it's working or not. If you abandon an approach or an angle or style, you can't evaluate it. You don't know if it's really working. Give it a chance. Make a commitment to it. Have a bankroll in mind of how much you're willing to commit to it. And over time, you can evaluate, tweak it, find out if it's working for you. And, it has helped me a great deal in many ways in terms of handicapping, is developing that consistent approach. And I think it definitely works in contest play.
And it was an approach that this past weekend netted you somewhere in the range of $50,000. And any plans for the money?
Well, it's funny because we have all of this time of year. I get all my charitable. It was funny today. I went to the mailbox. I got 4 or 5. I says, I guess I'll be able to increase my.
That's not what you were looking for in the mailbox today. You're probably looking for a check today, right?
Well, I expect that soon, but I know it'll be coming. We'll find some good stuff to do with it for sure. That's absolutely positive. I went out and bought a couple of buddies of mine, a couple boxes of cigars. That we went to a cigar place, the club that I have, and I took care of them. And we're gonna do some good things.
And Tony, once again, congratulations for winning our $100,000 game. Thank you for your support of Derby Wars, and we look forward to seeing more of you here on Derby Wars in the future.
You will, and you guys do a fantastic job, and you're helping grow the sport, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot of young people coming in because this is the media they want to be part of, and I think you're doing a great job for the sport.
We appreciate that, and thanks again for joining us here tonight on the live webcast. So.